Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes Reacts. I am Office Bloke Dave.
He's Office Bloke Mike.
He's Office Bloke Daz. Collectively, we are the Office Blokes.
That's about right, one way or the
We've got a TikTok, believe it or not. Head over to TikTok, search for the Office Blokes. We've got some fun clips on there. Mostly tri-channel stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly us just being dicks and doing stupid things. But
Which we're good at.
Yeah, we're pros at, some might say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good fun. Just go and head to TikTok and type in The Office Blokes. And while you're there, go to Manscaped and type in The Office Blokes too.
Yeah.
Thank us later.
Nice one.
Things Americans do that confuse the rest of the world. You've lived over there.
Yeah. Nothing confused me, really. I just adapt to the cultural changes wherever I am in the world.
You mean you weren't just stood around in the street going, what? What? I'm so confused.
I think we've all watched that much American television over the years as well. And obviously, you've lived there for a long time, haven't you? You do, probably over the years, you get used to every single thing they do anyway. So I'm not sure whether any of this would surprise me, but
one of my first Thanksgiving dinners when I went to someone's house, went to an Italian family's house for Thanksgiving. And there was like all snacks sort of like around the tables first and all like, finger food sort of thing. And I'm eating away, we're watching the football on the TV. And he said, "Oh, I'll sit down now." And I sat down. He brought out this fucking big lasagna. Like, well, a few of them. There's about 12 of us there, whatever. And we're all dipping and like, he was really good. So I'm like, have some more of that. Like, loading up my arm. And I'm like, see what they mean about that stuff. He went, "Oh no, we've still got the turkey." I went, "What? That's not. You don't fucking. No one has a lasagna to start."
Lasagna is not a starter, is it? Wow. Anyway, we'll get into it. Things Americans do that confuse the rest of the world. Let's do it.
The United States of America is the land of the free, the home of the brave, and also the home to a lot of weird stuff that most other countries don't do. This former British colony has truly grown up to be its own quirky person. The following 10 things tend to confuse non-Americans, and you can find non-natives of the US of A discussing them all across the internet. Number 10. Tipping. America definitely isn't the only country in the world where tipping is a common practice. In fact, if you're curious about what jobs get tipped in what countries, there's a website called whototip.net that breaks down the tipping customs of the world. But America is certainly the country where tipping is the most prevalent. In most countries and cultures around the world, tipping is simply an optional charge should you feel your server deserves to be rewarded for their efforts. However, in America, you should always give a tip of around 10 to 20%, especially at restaurants. Tipping is a big part of American culture, which seems odd to outsiders. People may dislike tipping, but it's probably here to stay. In America, the unspoken system is that food prices in restaurants are lower than they should be because tips allow the restaurant to pay their waitstaff less. They can then charge you less for food. At least that's what you can try telling your friend the next time he doesn't want to contribute to the tip at a restaurant because he recently saw Reservoir Dogs. While a lot of people argue that tipping is a good thing because it increases the quality of service you receive, this isn't actually true. Cornell University published a study that revealed the real reason people tip, more or less, is basically random, and customers who receive great service tip on average just 1% more than those who don't. Lots of people around the world look at America and ask, why not pay service workers a normal amount of money and just make the food more expensive? Number 9.
I always tip when I get food.
Always.
Unless I'm in Wetherspoons.
Yeah, I do as well. It says they tip generally between 10 and 20%. Do you know before you get the meal how much it is? Do they have like a service charge when you go and saying it's going to be 15%?
It's your discretion.
There's a discretion.
No, you'll get a bill. You get a bill for $100.
Yeah.
And at that, what you do then, you pay your bill $100 and you leave $20 tip.
Yeah, or 10, because it said between 10 and 20%.
Do 20, mate.
No, yeah, I'm just wondering whether it's like no, that's what I mean. But I wouldn't know. When I went,
just do 20%. You'd be all right.
Yeah.
When I went for a meal a couple of weeks ago in Knutsford, do you remember where I told you I went? It was quite nice. Yeah. There was no option to tip. It was cashless, and usually you do a gratuity on the thing when you put your card in. There was no option to do it.
Just have cash with you, mate.
All I could do was pay the bill.
Yeah, but then just leave cash on the table. That's what I do. You should always have cash in your pocket. Yeah. I just leave cash on the table.
I felt bad about it because there was no. I was literally normally you just say add 10% or whatever and do it on your card. Yeah. There was no option to do it. I felt bad about it because I tip, especially with good service. Anyway,
Names on the wall now. Picture of him. Fidel Castro.
Cash on the table. Yeah.
A few vacation days. Americans don't go on vacation as much as the rest of the world does. On average, we're given only 12 vacation days by our work, as opposed to Europeans who get between 25 and 30. Perhaps more interesting is the fact that Americans on average only use 10 of their 12 given vacation days, whereas Europeans tend to use all of theirs. I guess Americans just can't bring themselves to leave the office while there's still work to be done. And while it may suggest Europeans are lazy, according to a mounting body of research, it's actually counterproductive not to take a vacation, as breaks help us rejuvenate, increasing our productivity over time. Not only that, when us Americans do go on vacation, we also travel less internationally than citizens of most other countries. But that may be related to our limited number of vacation days. 12 days just doesn't allow for an international trip as well as 30 does, as the time and cost of travel to international destinations is so great. According to the Department of Commerce, American international travelers spent 42% of the cost of their entire trip simply on the travel to and from their destination. It's then not too surprising that most Americans don't even have a passport. Only 42% of US citizens own a passport, whereas 76% of English citizens do. That means at least 58% of Americans haven't even left the US, as you need a passport to travel. To the rest of the world, this is an odd characteristic of such a prosperous nation. While it's partly due to limited vacation days, it may also be because Americans lack the desire to travel as much as the rest of the world. Number 8. Food.
It's also a fucking massive country.
I was just about to say that.
You've got all sorts there, don't you? I mean, we mainly travel when we go to Europe. That's because of the weather. Because we've got a bit of sunshine, don't we, in the summer. In America, we've got loads of choices.
California
there,
and the sun's out.
California, Florida, we've got loads of choices to get a bit of sunshine, haven't we? Whereas we've got to
the
travel.
whole country in summer.
Yeah, well, yeah, it probably is the whole country. Yeah, absolutely.
I think they've got options to go skiing. You can go surfing
as well. Yeah.
You can go and sit on a beach and just chill. I think they can cater for everything within the Isles.
Yeah.
So that'd explain it really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Europe was one. I wonder how many Europeans have never been outside of Europe.
It's a fair point.
Yeah, true. Yeah, a lot.
My worst nightmare is to go on holiday to Spain or Portugal.
Portugal's nice. I like Portugal.
It's not the get when you're there. It's the getting there that bothers me.
Yeah, I'm not keen on the travel bit.
No,
definitely.
Not scared of travel or anything like that. It's the other people I'm traveling with.
Yeah,
it's very frustrating.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I flew to Spain about 5 years ago, and Malaga, I think it was, that I got off the plane and then had a 2-hour coach ride on my own to get to where I was going.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Was it?
Just staring out the window with some music on.
I couldn't think of anything worse than flying somewhere and having to get on a coach for hours. Turkey's like that. You used to fly to Turkey and it was like 6 hours on a coach.
I think
too much sod that.
When you're on your own and it's only a couple of hours, it's a bit of an adventure. It wasn't a slog. If it was 6 hours, it would have been a nightmare.
Yeah, it's the airport I don't like. Just queuing up, checking in and waiting for your bags and
this is the
like
most.
that. It just does me head in.
This is the most English segment we've ever done, where we're just moaning about travel. 1 minute we're like, yeah, I love travelling, but yeah, I just fucking hate airports.
I'll travel, but if I'm going, I've got to go to the right destination, just not in Spain or Greece or Turkey or anywhere like that.
Preferences. When you go to a restaurant in America, you're probably going to get a lot of food, at least a lot more than most other nations would serve. It's a popular topic of discussion amongst non-Americans online. Many European tourists admit they would frequently just order.
Literally,
come off it.
Day one, I've started intermittent fasting and trying to get in shape again. And I'm fucking looking at stuff like
That's
that.
all you need, isn't it?
I've had porridge today. Not porridge, yeah, porridge.
Porridge.
Yeah. Oh my god.
An item off the menu and share it with another person. America does it big. And for non-Americans, the size options at fast food restaurants perfectly illustrate this. Take a look at this image by a Japanese citizen in 2011, comparing the sizes of McDonald's drinks in America versus Japan. The medium Japanese cup is the exact same size as the small American cup, and the American medium cup is larger than the Japanese large. But McDonald's is on the small size. Here are the small sizes at a number of vendors, showing just how much larger a small cup is in America.
I don't think
While many
cinemas
around
count.
the world like to joke about how it proves Americans are fat,
How did they get video footage of me?
America. While many around the world...
That's after the basketball video and the slating I took in the comment section. That's how I feel like I look. I'm not quite that bad, but...
would like to joke about how it proves Americans are fat. The truth is, a lot of them take away their leftovers in carry-out boxes to eat throughout the week. Still, American food is vastly different to food found in the rest of the world. For one, non-Americans are, on the whole, less obsessive about peanut butter. Brian Sternthal, a professor of marketing at Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management, has said that in many parts of the world, peanut butter is regarded as unpalatable American curiosity. For example, according to Statista, Americans eat a kilogram of it per year, compared to 100 grams eaten per person per year in Europe. That's 10 times the amount Europeans eat. Other American food anomalies that have confused Europeans include comparatively small fruit and vegetable aisles full of fruits and vegetables that will cost you a lot more than they would across the Atlantic, as well as an overabundance of highly processed sweet and salty foods, and so-called cheese that can be sprayed out of a can. Number 7. College sports. In America, college sports are almost as popular as professional sports. In some areas, they're actually more popular. People will have barbecues outside of stadiums for hours before the games start, paint their faces, and hate on rival academic institutions. College athletics are taken just as seriously by the fans, who don't care that the players aren't as good as the pros and aren't even getting paid. This may be baffling to our neighbors, but there is an explanation for this American pastime of watching what are literally amateur games. Unlike most fun-sized European countries, America is massive. There are lots of places that just aren't anywhere near a major city where you could go and see a professional team play. Colleges are the next best thing, and there's bound to be one of them nearby at least. College football and basketball.
I never considered that.
I love it.
No.
I love the fact that how big the attendances they get.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, we have watched a bit of college football, haven't we, and done a few reactions to that type of thing, and it's the crowds are absolutely unbelievable.
I just never thought that lack of proximity to a NFL team, you know, so people want to watch football, so they're going to go to the college football instead.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, where we live, within 20 miles, how many Premier League, or at least top flight football teams are there?
There's four, 5 within 30 miles.
Yeah.
6 if you include Burnley.
Well, I'm not sure if I would. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy.
So actually predate those sports professional leagues, so college athletics culture has been around forever. Number 6. Prescription drug commercials. Non-Americans who travel to the U.S. are often surprised to find that there are advertisements for prescription drugs on regular television. You can't go and buy them from stores, so the commercials urge...
That blew my mind when I was there as well. At the end of the advert, it's like, may cause anal bleeding, may cause your eyes to pop out the back of your head. Like, you have a fast talking...
Anal bleeding, what are you taking?
That would be like...
what you doing?
Yeah, what you taking, exactly. 6 inches, mate.
But at the end of the adverts, it's like one of these really fast talking people that says all the side effects of taking a drug, and it's literally as obscure as crazy stuff like that. You know, have you got tennis elbow? Take this, and it may cause like a multitude of things that are going to kill you.
Viewers to ask their doctor about them. In 2016, Kantar Media, a firm that tracks multimedia advertising, reported that nearly 800,000 prescription drug advertisements were aired on television, which was a 65% increase from just 4 years prior. Basically, the reason these commercials don't exist in other countries is because they aren't legal in other countries. In fact, the only other country where these kinds of commercials exist is New Zealand. The US pharmaceutical industry is huge. It generated $425 billion in 2015. If they're allowed to advertise, of course they're going to. And it works. Direct-to-consumer advertised drugs tend to sell better than drugs that aren't. But they're controversial, and it seems the reason America allows them comes down to our free speech protections under the First Amendment. Governments of most countries around the world think they're dangerous, and the research suggests they're not wrong. Even the American Medical Association has called for a ban on them, as these advertisements have been proven by studies to broaden the scope of who gets treated with prescription drugs. They also lead to patients being influenced to take newer, less effective drugs that often cost more. For example, Vioxx, which was later withdrawn as it caused life-threatening side effects such as increasing the risk of heart attack and strokes. Number 5.
Up to 140,000 heart attacks linked to taking that medication.
That's a lot.
I just try not to take anything ever.
You'd be surprised it got to 140,000 before they, it took that long to suss it out, really.
That's how long to recoup the billions in the development of the drug.
Be a proper big customer, one of them. Lots of all the tablets I take, especially the illegal ones.
Soccer. America, of course, isn't the only country that plays soccer, but we are one of the only countries that calls the game you play with your feet soccer and the one you play with your hands football. We stand with countries like Australia, Korea, South Africa, and Italy in not calling the sport football. Understandably, it confuses most of the world. So, what is the origin of this counterintuitive name? Soccer is an abbreviation of association, which came from association football, the official name for the game. The suffix was added as a common jocular slang term of the time. The reason the name is stuck is because American football developed in the mid-19th century, evolving from the British game of rugby. Back then, rugby was loosely known as football, but it was often called rugby to make the distinction. All these sports were about moving the ball forward, but as the game developed across the pond, Americans developed different rules about how you were allowed to do it and what you could wear. The most popular rule set in England ended up being the one where you can only use your feet. And the most popular rule set in America ended up being the one where you get to smash into each other. Hence why the two totally different sports have the same names in the two countries. Number 4. Not including sales tax. Wherever there's a discussion of American sales tax on the internet, you can find non-Americans telling their tales of being shocked at the final price because they didn't realize that sales tax wasn't included. In most countries, the price tag on an item includes the part you have to pay to the government, so they can build roads and other things. But not here in the US. This is because sales tax in America can vary by county, so something could cost a slightly different amount just a mile away. There are also very specific laws about what gets sales taxed. For instance, if you order coffee to go, there will not be sales tax in California, but if you sit down in the cafe and eat a donut, you will have to pay sales tax. Essentially, with all these rules, it becomes difficult to put things on a price tag. Number 3. Not using the metric system. The United States of America has no need for universally accepted and logical measurement systems because Thomas Jefferson said so. In 1790, when the metric system was being developed, he simply decided not to bring it to America. So it didn't happen. America, Liberia, and Myanmar are the only countries in the world that use the imperial system. Liberia uses the same units that America does, and Myanmar is a bit of a mess. They use a combination of their own totally unique Burmese measuring units, American imperial units, and metric units. So they may have the distinction of being the only country with a bigger headache when it comes to this than America. But surely now that Thomas Jefferson is long dead, we could just switch over, right? Well, it isn't that simple. It would cost a lot of money to switch over the country's whole infrastructure to the metric system now that the US already uses their own unique imperial system. The closest the US has gotten is that today, in US schools, kids learn about both the imperial and metric systems. So most of us do have a basic understanding of how the metric system works, even if we never really use it. Even if you buy a measuring tape in the US, it will have both imperial and metric units on it. Throughout American history, there have been various attempts to reform the system and switch over, but none have succeeded. It would seem as though Thomas Jefferson's wish for an extra special system shall live on for the foreseeable future. It hasn't come without its consequences though, as this confusion has led to enormous mistakes, like the Mars orbiter that was lost by NASA because of a metric system mix-up. Number 2. Month.
What the fuck? NASA can't get it right.
I know.
Someone says to me, how long's that? And you say like 24 inches. Right? You can roughly figure out how many centimetres it is and how many, whatever, and what it weighs in pounds and kilos. But it's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
It's a bit of a common misconception that we just use one, because we use both over years.
We use both for years, haven't we? Still do. I mean, I'm not sure about younger people, to be honest, like teenagers these days, whether they've been bought just on the metric system. I don't know.
I think we
use both still, don't we? Like miles an hour, and we still say gallons, don't we? In pints and things like that.
Yeah, we definitely. I'm trying to think. In so many different contexts, we use each.
Yeah,
pounds and kilos.
Yeah, we use pounds and stone, don't we?
Yeah. Well, drug dealers work in kilos, don't they?
Don't know.
Allegedly.
Probably
ounces.
Ounces are ounces are a part of kilos, aren't they?
Yeah, we definitely use both though, don't we?
Yeah,
certain things.
I can do
strange, really, but
mid-sentence, like when we're building that bar, we can 1 minute we're talking centimetres, the next minute it's a couple of inches. That
millimetres.
Yeah, definitely
as well.
Yeah.
Before the day. The United States is the only country that, when writing out the date, puts the month before the day, and it seems to extremely aggravate the rest.
That was a bit of a weird one.
That one is definitely
no justification for that whatsoever. I'm sure someone will try and explain in the comment section why, but just
why?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, no need for that one. I don't think.
Bang out of order.
Bang out of order.
Of the world. Most other countries write the day, then the month, then the year. The majority of countries and most of Europe and South America do it this way. It seems logical as the units of time are then in order from smallest to largest. Also seemingly logical is how the date is written in China and Japan, which is year, month, day, or largest to smallest. So why do we format time like this? Well, unfortunately, there's no widely accepted answer as to why this is the case. The month-day-year order was used in Britain in the 1800s, but why we chose to keep it when Britain ceased to do so is something of a historical mystery. The best guess is likely that the order reflects how Americans say dates verbally. An American would be more likely to say that it's January 1st more than they would be likely to say the 1st of January. Our notation then could simply be a way of writing out what would be the most conversational. Number 1. Having a drinking age of 21.
Boo.
Should be 11.
Boo.
11 for lads and about 16 for girls.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I'll never agree with that. I think you've got to learn how to drink. So if you go out and you can legally buy booze for the first time, I'm sure they drink younger. I'm sure they do, but
it's always a way around it, isn't there?
yeah, but you need to be trained. You need to be weaned onto booze if you're going to be let loose into the world.
It's a social thing as well, isn't it? Like I say, you have to learn to do it, learn to get by with other adults as well. You know, social.
I see kids in pubs over here that are like 16, 15, 16 with beers.
Yeah.
And I go, he doesn't look old enough, but as long as he behaves himself, not asked.
Yeah.
You know, you tell
And pays.
the size of the head. They've always got small heads, the ones that are underage. just sit there looking at them and I'm like...
It's usually the ones that I've been in the bar, I go in the pub and they come in and they go, what's your cheapest lager? And I just look at them and go, fuck off. Go somewhere else. Got Weatherspoons, mate.
Checking the change.
Got Weatherspoons.
My favourite one is when they all walk in separately to not look like a big group and then huddle together somewhere away from the bar, but they're all huddled like that.
Yeah.
And then one of them...
Just one goes to the bar, one with the shit idea.
The oldest and tallest one with a bit of growth.
Yeah.
I'd love to watch that. I've never worked behind a bar, but if I did, I'd be watching them just laughing. Like, come on, mate.
Yeah, I stand at the bar when I go out to the pub. I like to stand at the bar and just watch the people coming up to the bar, and I'm just like, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Keep about 10.
Fair play to him,
Oh, absolutely.
We all did it.
We all did.
Yeah.
Of course we did.
I was 13 the first time I bought a pint in a pub.
I was 18. I just got... Out you go.
Was that when you were 18? Piss off.
£1.50 for a pint.
Yeah, it was less than that, mate. I had to take my birth certificate for like years. Seriously. Everywhere I went, I'd take it all the time.
20-year-old European may be in for a shock when they fly to the US and discover that they can no longer legally drink alcohol. While you may already know about this peculiar American practice, what you may not know is why it is the case. In 1984, the U.S. passed a law called the Drinking Age Act. It stated that if a state did not create a minimum drinking age of 21, they would lose up to 10% of their federal highway funding. The states all took the hint and made the drinking age 21. But why 21? Well, America has a long and storied past with alcohol, including...
Smile on that guy's face when he's pouring away all that gin, I presume it was. What an idiot.
21? Well...
Muppet. Don't have to look so proud of yourself, mate.
Teetotal, innit?
He's already pissed, probably doesn't know what's going on. So, thinks he's having a piss, doesn't he? Not bad.
America has a long and storied past with alcohol, including prohibition. Lawmakers didn't just pick the number out of a hat. It dates back centuries to Old English common law, which states a person becomes a full adult aged 21, at which age a person could, among other things, vote and become a knight. Still, as shown by this map, the US is one of just a few developed countries to have a minimum legal drinking age over 18. In fact, in some countries like Belgium and Germany, 16-year-olds are allowed to purchase alcohol. Alcoholic or not, if you order a drink in America, you're probably going to get it with a lot of ice. In most other countries, you just won't see the sheer quantity of ice that you'll get in your American beverage. Granted, you'll often get ice in your drinks in many European countries, but ice-cold beverages are the default option in America. Whereas lots of people from other countries don't have the same preference, and drinks aren't always served with ice. This cultural difference is frequently debated online. It could be because in some countries you shouldn't drink the tap water, which is where that ice came from, and in others it just isn't common to automatically have ice with a meal at a restaurant. So, people of the internet.
If you're old enough to go to war, you're old enough to drink.
It seems like an outdated way they've decided that you have to be 21.
A lot of it's based on English common law, like
yeah,
it's
that's what I mean.
like
Years laws from years and years ago.
At the age of 21, that's one of the reasons why, it came into being at 21, which is so outdated, it's unbelievable.
Still waiting for my letter.
Oh yeah.
Thought I'd have had an MBE at least by now.
This time, yeah, don't worry. Yeah, I mean, they're not all a shocker there, to be fair. I think I knew.
I think we knew pretty much all of them, don't we?
The ice thing's changed in the UK a lot. It's not as bad as it used to be, but some of the older style pubs you go in, you still got that ice bucket, and then you look in it like that, and it's like fucking 2 blocks of ice and half a gallon of water, and you're like, you got any ice, mate? And he's like, there's some in there. You're like, and they just like look at you, I'm just like,
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
The tax one is a stupid one. On the clothes and stuff like that. It's different in every state, isn't it? Or can be?
Yeah.
Which is I just don't get that. You think it'd be like a standard rate, wouldn't the? But hey ho.
When you've got somewhere as vast as the States, then there's going to be different. It's basically different countries, isn't it?
I suppose it's giving them freedom to collect taxes as they want to, I suppose, isn't it? But
we've got the same with VAT. I mean, VAT is sometimes included, sometimes it's plus VAT, and then some items are not VATable. You don't pay VAT on certain items.
Yeah, because they had they called it the tampon tax, didn't they? Where people protested because basically women's products had VAT, and they wanted them to be removed because they're essentially essential.
Yeah,
and I think it was removed, the VAT. I think.
During COVID, they brought the price of beer. Here's one for you. They brought the VAT on beer, reduced it to 5% from 20% to 5%, but then the pub put the fucking prices up.
Yeah.
Seen that coming, didn't we? Yeah.
Absolute mile off. Yeah, the thing is, though, with our prices, at least you get a price tag, that's what you're paying. Whereas, obviously, in the States, if you bought a piece of clothing from somewhere, I don't think you know till you get to the till, do you, how much it's actually going to be. That is the confusing bit. But,
I think it looked like a lot of it was centred around 10%.
Yeah.
Give or take a couple of percent.
So you'd probably go for 10%, wouldn't you? And then if it's 6%, then you're winning 4%.
Yeah, but you might think it could be a bit more, or I suppose.
You've got to go, excuse me. Start kicking off with the guy at the till.
Yeah.
What's a male Karen called?
A Dave.
A Dave. It's definitely not a Dave. It's definitely not a Dave.
Oh dear.
Walk straight into that one.
Exactly. Yeah. It was good, that. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Don't forget, leave your comments below as well and let us know on that what you think of it. And don't forget, like and subscribe, hit the bell.
Do you measure yours in inches or centimetres? That's what we want to
Catch you on the next one.
You might.
Cheers.
Cheers.